Hello and welcome to another edition of the Morning Brew live on NTN from the GIS studios, bringing you the latest news and developments coming out of the government of St. Lucia. My name is Jessie Leonce. Thank you so much for joining us. We are live on air and online. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're on our cable channel 122. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, thank you for making NTN and the Morning Brew your wake-up station, your wake-up program. Today is International Literacy Day, and of course it's wonderful that all the kids are back at school. If I could go to refer to the United Nations, literacy teaching and learning in the COVID-19 crisis and beyond is their focus as they observe International Literacy Day 2020. I'm going to get into it a bit later on, as well as ways we as parents can improve and increase literacy, the interest in literacy amongst our children later on. But in the meantime, I just want to let you in on this information. Improved literacy can contribute to economic growth, reducing poverty, reducing crime, all that good stuff. So we're going to get into that a little bit more in just a moment. But in the meantime, the latest update coming from the Office of the Prime Minister, Honorable Alan Shastney was a guest on BBC World News yesterday. He joined Matthew Amroliwala, the main presenter for BBC World News' discussion program Global, to speak on how St. Lucia has so far managed the pandemic, dealing with the pandemic to date, and what holiday makers can expect in this whole phased reopening that we've been doing here on island. The Prime Minister also discussed how the wider Caribbean and leaders of today are navigating the COVID-19 pandemic and advocated for airlines and countries to implement pre-testing to help boost consumer confidence and tourism overall. And it's definitely a campaign that our Prime Minister has been on so far, promoting and advocating for pre-testing for travel, and we all know the benefits of that. We've so far heard from our own officials who have led with this with this situation in terms of pre-testing. We will be bringing you the details to the interview in a subsequent broadcast, but if you would like to listen to the interview full length, you could go on to NTN's Facebook page. If you're watching through the Facebook page, when the live is done, you could just sit down, take a look at the interview so you can get that BBC piece in full. The latest stories for the 24-hour news cycle. Students at the National Sports Academy are urged by Prime Minister Honorable Alan Shastney to take advantage of the unique opportunity the school provides. The New Beginnings Transit Home creates a pathway for youth at risk, and the Lightning Aquatics Swim Club makes a splash in its back-to-school drive. We do have the details to these stories and more coming up after the break. If you're drinking some cocoa tea, some bush tea, if you're having breakfast this morning, if you're watching us from your office right now, do stay tuned. We'll have more news coming up after this break.
She's been watching, waiting, wondering when the sands of time will give way to a tide of change, and for yesterday and today to become a new tomorrow, for a time when her sun can kiss the cheeks of your loved one and her stars can twinkle in her honeymoon skies, when her earthly embrace will reassure and calm your soul, and her unique view can change your whole perspective. Proudly, she has risen to meet new challenges and to provide safe harbor to all who reach her shores. For her hopes and dreams still stand shoulder to shoulder, a precious reminder of experiences yet to come. So, wherever your moments and memories take you, let her sense of adventure set you free. She is St. Lucia. Let her inspire you.
Thank you so much for staying tuned. This is the Morning Brew live on NTN. And before we went to break, we were just making it known that today is International Literacy Day, if you don't yet know. And we will be later on bringing you some tips on how you can nurture the growth of literacy in your children. That's coming up in just a moment. But in the meantime, we have the lead stories for the 24-hour news cycle. The nation's students returned to the classroom yesterday. That was Monday, 7th September 2020, as the new academic year opened. The enforcement of COVID-19 protocols was in full effect as the Ministries of Education and Health worked toward a safe learning environment and the pandemic. Amid the pandemic, CEO, that is Chief Education Officer, Dr. Fiona Philip-Meyer, has called on parents to help their children understand the protocols and adhere to them. Take a look.
We do have mask breaks. There is a provision for the use of face shields, but we continue to speak about the hand washing because we know that our children will interact socially. They should also interact socially, but we need to maintain our hand washing as a constant practice, which is based on the advice of our health professionals.
Dr. Philip-Meyer did indicate that there were several training sessions held with the various stakeholders in order to ensure a safe environment for all.
So we've had training for our cooks, we've had training for our drivers who are on the subsidy program. Additionally, the Department of Education has met with the Minibus Association and other members of environmental health as well as the Department of Health, all in the interest of looking at our various stakeholders. We've also met with the National Workers Association, the Senior Teachers Union, all of that looking at the various stakeholders, our support staff, our teachers, our administrators. How best can we pool our resources together with our parents and the wider populace?
That was Dr. Fiona Philip-Meyer, Chief Education Officer, just reminding parents, teachers, students to adhere to the protocols. We've reopened schools, but everyone needs to play their part to ensure that the pandemic remains under control. COVID-19 remains under control. And just a reminder, while the academic year officially opened yesterday, that is Monday, 7th September 2020, a number of schools will be reopening at a later date due to rehabilitation works. Monrepo, Passengers Combined, Denry Primary, and Larishes Combined schools will reopen on Wednesday, 9th September 2020, that is tomorrow. And the Entrepot Secondary School, Moshi Combined School, and Lesetan Combined School will reopen on Monday, 14th September 2020. That is Monday coming. So please take note of that. We did mention it, but we think it's important to repeat for the benefit of the viewership and the population at large. Meantime, Prime Minister Honorable Alan Shastney paid a visit to the National Sports Academy on Monday as the students and teachers ushered in the new school year. The visit follows a tour by Prime Minister of schools on Friday, 4th September. We have more in this report.
Prime Minister Honorable Alan Shastney surprised students at the National Sports Academy with a visit as they settled in on the first day of the academic year. The School of Excellence in Sports is the first and only boarding school on Ireland. Accompanied by officials of the Ministry of Education, Prime Minister Shastney interacted with the teachers and assessed the physical works done at the school. Wanting to hear directly from the students, Honorable Shastney visited individual classrooms and chatted with the aspiring professionals. He encouraged them to utilize their time wisely and capitalize on the opportunities that come before them.
In times of uncertainty like right now, the most important thing, I think, is to focus on the things that you know to be true. So things that you don't know, it's okay not to know it. But focus on the things that you do know. So do not use this as an opportunity not to do your schoolwork. Do not use this as an opportunity not to focus on your sport. And maintain, if you're not doing it already, and if you've not figured this out, the only way to be successful in life is to be the best.
The visit to the National Sports Academy was preceded by a tour of schools on Friday, 4th September. The Prime Minister, along with the Minister for Education, Honorable Dr. Gail Rigobert, and education officials, spent the day witnessing firsthand the rehabilitation works at the various schools. At the Clendon Mason Memorial School, construction crews were busy undertaking electrical and plumbing works, painting and installing safety and security measures. Theodore Charles is the principal of the Clendon Mason Memorial School.
You have a school which has been there for years, and yes, there is some fencing at the back which is not 100%, but the entrance is just open to everybody and anything. And it was causing a lot of risk issue for our students and our staff, and safety was put in serious questions. And after writing to the Ministry of Education, I'm very pleased that they've actually decided, yes, during this summertime repair works, that they would facilitate us. And we are glad that this is really happening right now. Any little bits that's not done, I don't think it's going to seriously affect our reopening.
Principal Charles commended the Prime Minister for embarking on the tour, stating that it indicates to students, teachers and parents the level of commitment Honorable Shastny has to the education sector.
What the Prime Minister has done is that he's actually shown an interest in what is happening at the school. And I'm very pleased that he came, but at least we'd probably like to see him a bit more often at our schools throughout the island.
Over the Larishes Combined School, repairs to the roof were being done, along with painting and electrical works.
Our students will be walking into brand new classrooms with brand new ceiling, well lit, because I can say I'm quite impressed with the electrical works which has been done. The school is no longer dark, it is now well lit. I say hallelujah to this. Our students have been given some brand new furniture as well, so when they come in, it's going to be a lot of brand new things for them. When I first came, the school was a bit dark on coming to the school on an evening, but right now with the electrical works which has been done, even the outside of the school has some really lovely lights. So this, I can say, it really lifts the face of the school.
And for all schools on island, they too have received much desired facelifts. From the Government Information Service, Lisa Joseph reports in.
Thank you for that report, Lissa. And we do also have an update from the Castries Southeast constituency. The Honorable Guy Joseph did have a tour of the schools in his constituency ahead of the starting of school. So we will be bringing you that story in this evening's nightly news. So do tune in this evening for a report on that. Do stay tuned. We have more news coming up right after this break.
Better yet, use soap and water.
We must protect each other if we are to beat this corona.
Together let us win this war. Be a soldier for St. Lucia. Together let us win this war. Be a soldier, together we can beat this corona.
So you don't become the next case. Avoid touching your face. I'm sure you've been told so. Handshakes and hugging are up. No, no.
Advice give you the please. Cover your mouth and your nose if you cough or sneeze.
Practice social distancing and avoid large social gatherings.
Together let us win this war. Be a soldier for St. Lucia. Together let us win this war. St. Lucia, be a soldier. Together we can beat this corona.
For further information, please contact the hotline at 311 or the Bureau of Health Education at 468-5349.
Thank you so much for staying tuned to the Morning Brew live on NTN, bringing you the latest updates from the government of St. Lucia for this 24-hour news cycle. The New Beginnings Transit Home has become the first institution on island to complete aggression replacement training for juveniles at risk. We have a report on a graduation ceremony that was recently held for the participants.
8 young ladies in the care of the New Beginnings Transit Home are better equipped to kick antisocial habits after successfully completing the first ever aggression replacement training, ART, in St. Lucia. For 10 weeks, 3 days a week, the girls were engaged in the 3 components of ART: social skills, moral reasoning, and anger control.
ART is a program based on habilitation, meaning teaching which was never previously learned. So we have social skills, we have anger control, and we have moral reasoning. Sometimes we have our kids and we just assume they know what to say thank you, they know how to say, but there are some children who have never taught how to say thank you, how to say please. So that is where ART come in, where we teach them new skills, or maybe sometimes skills they have learned, but just way of displaying it.
That was ART facilitator Maria Flavian. The ART initiative falls under the Juvenile Justice Reform Project, the JJRP, at the Ministry of Equity, Social Justice, Local Government and Empowerment. The project's Social Research Officer, Lavon Verdon-Daisy, says efforts have been ongoing to run the aggression replacement training at all institutions that manage juveniles at risk who have displayed aggressive behavior. The New Beginnings Transit Home is the first institution on the island to complete the training from the JJRP.
This is the first session at Transit Home, and so you're very much trend setters with regards to starting and complete. We really hope that this was useful for you. We really hope that you continue to use the lessons that you learned and the friendships that you make and the support that you have to use these life skills. I say life skills because these are things that we don't just need use this week, or that they were only necessary for the last 10 weeks, but that as you continue through life, that you apply all of the lessons learned and you share it.
Transit Home Manager Avis Inglis thanked the ministry for offering this special training and commended the girls for their participation and application of the skills learned so far.
Now, I know that you have been practicing, because the staff would come back and say certain things. The children are practicing, they are breathing, they are doing such and such, and we know that you are practicing. What we want from you is when you leave Transit Home, do not leave those skills by the big gate. Take those skills wherever you go, those social skills and the other ones, take them wherever you go and utilize them. Because these 3 areas is going to allow you to change your behavior, to change your mind, to change your lifestyle, and to reach your goals.
Attending the ART program, it was so nice. It was really nice getting to know something new and getting to help my behaviors. And I know it will help me in the later life, as I go on.
Art was not something I was really looking forward to. The first time I heard about art, I was like, I don't want to go to that. So that art, I was in the class, well, it was good. I wanted to sleep because in the beginning it was boring me, but then afterwards I got the gist from it. I understand what art really was about.
Well, I would like to say thank you to Auntie Viviana and Auntie Maria, especially for coming up with the idea to introduce art to us at the New Beginnings Transit Home. And I would like to tell them that we really appreciated it, and it will go a long way in our life, not only now and in the class, but when we leave the walls of New Beginnings Transit Home, that we will still embrace it and use it out there and introduce it to our friends and just lend them a helping hand. So I'd like to say thank you to all of y'all.
The New Beginnings Transit Home is a temporary residential place of safety for children between the ages of 2 to 16 years who are victims of child abuse and severe neglect and who are in need of care and protection. From the Government Information Service, Rajvara Lawrence reporting.
It's a real feel-good story there with the girls, the young ladies from the New Beginnings Transit Home getting some aggression replacement training. And we want to say a special thank you to the Juvenile Justice Reform Project under the Ministry of Equity and Social Transformation for making this happen. I do understand that there is an effort to have this program also successfully rolled out at the other institutions where you have juveniles being cared for, juveniles at risk. And so we will be following up with the Office of the Juvenile Justice Reform Project. That is Ms. Lavon Verdant, officer there, on how things pan out at the other institutions. You have the Boys Training Center and whatnot. We continue with news for the morning. The processing of passengers at the ferry terminal in Castries has been made more efficient with the installation of a baggage scanner. The equipment was handed over to the Customs and Excise Department by the Ministry of Tourism under the OECS Regional Tourism Competitiveness Project. We have more from Lisa Joseph.
The World Bank-funded OECS Regional Tourism Competitiveness Project, ORTCP, is being implemented in Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and St. Lucia, with one of the key objectives being the facilitation of the movement of tourists within the participating countries using ferries. It is against this background that a request by the Customs and Excise Department to the Ministry of Tourism was fulfilled under the ORTCP. Project manager Dr. Lorraine Nicholas noted the importance of the ferry terminal to St. Lucia's tourism travel sector.
The number of passengers using the ferry service had increased over the years, and that the baggage scanner will equip customs officials with an essential tool to inspect customer baggage in a fast and efficient manner. The scanner will allow the detection of illegal weapons and other items in much more efficient manner than human intervention. Also, the scanner can be used to scan many pieces of luggage quickly, improving the speed at which passengers are processed. So we are very pleased that we were able to contribute to expediting the passenger clearance process here at the ferry terminal.
Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism, Information, Broadcasting, Culture and Creative Industries, Donaldin Vite, says the ferry terminal plays an integral role in the Caribbean travel market, particularly Martinique, Guadeloupe and Dominica, and as such, outfitting the facility with the necessary technology and infrastructure will serve the industry well.
Over the past 2 years, there's been significant upgrade in the product at the ferry terminal. But of course, we know with regards to the physical upgrade, there must be a level of infrastructural upgrade to support that with ICT. Customs, they're very dear to our heart as officers of the government service. And we know the sort of strife they've been under at this ferry terminal with the volume of baggage that normally comes with the visitors and our returning nationals, and how they've been able to process. Out of our OECS Regional Tourism Competitiveness Project, one of the things for the ministry was to critically assess within the services that are provided within the Castries Basin especially, how we could improve those services and at the same time maintain customer satisfaction at the fore. So for us, working with Customs, it was a no-brainer to identify the needs of the ferry terminal and to be able to upgrade it with the infrastructure, the technology that is required to support the human resources already given by government.
Acting Comptroller of Customs, Peter Chico, welcomed the baggage scanner, indicating that the use of technology would improve the department's risk management capabilities.
St. Lucia Customs and Excise Department has been calling for scanners and non-intrusive technology equipment for quite some time, particularly when it relates to the examination of passengers and passenger baggage. I am certain, PS, that this donation from your ministry will go a long way in helping the Customs Department meet its mandate to examine, clear passengers, provide that quality service that is always expected of the Customs and Excise Department.
The customs officers received training in the use of the baggage scanner by the Director of Technical Services at Sextus Technologies. And a baggage carousel has also been provided and will be installed at the ferry terminal. From the Government Information Service, Lisa Joseph reporting.
Thanks again, Lisa. We are due for a break, but when we come back, we will be letting you in on some tips on how you can help nurture the growth of literacy in your children. The kids are back at school, all well and good, but as we observe International Literacy Day today, 8th September 2020, we want to give you some information in that regard. Both at home and at school, they're being exposed to literacy. It augurs well for the kids overall. When we come back, we have a donation going towards the back to school, a donation for back to school going towards the Ministry of Equity, Social Justice, Local Government and Empowerment, and the Ministry of Youth Development and Sports organizes a basketball clinic. Stay with us.
Overnight, growing national unrest.
Society, a digital cashless society, one world currency.
A vaccine for COVID-19.
Droplets
of the virus.
Macy's iconic flagship.
Track the coronavirus.
Everybody vaccinated on the corona pandemic. The opposition to the lockdown.
An infected
conspiracy theories about the coronavirus.
Bizarre claims.
Truth about the origin of COVID-19 hidden from the rest of the world. And the Chinese.
In this constantly changing environment, resulting in sensory overload, cut through the noise and tune in to the National Television Network, the official source of information, all facts.
Thank you for staying tuned. The Lightning Aquatics Swim Club has made a donation of school supplies to the Ministry of Equity, Social Justice, Local Government and Empowerment. This is the 4th annual charity drive by the club. We have Public Relations Officer Mrs. Coretta Crooks-Charles saying that Lightning Aquatics is a family-oriented swim club that is concerned with the development of its members in and out of the pool.
Like many persons in St. Lucia, some of our own members have had difficulties because of COVID, whether it's losing jobs or getting, decreased salaries. But we at the Lightning Aquatic Swim Club strongly believe in giving, no matter how small. And so we are happy that we could put these things together. We have over 20 pairs of shoes. Some are new. Some are slightly used. We have school uniforms, books, stationery, school bags. So we are happy that, as you rightfully said, it may not be a lot, but it can put a small dent in the problems affecting some of our parents who don't have.
We want to thank you. We want to express how grateful we are for your effort. I, as the welfare officer, can tell you it goes a long way. I still have people calling saying, you have anything, can I get? So it's well appreciated, and it will make a little dent in the big, the issue of COVID and everything that's going on now. So I want to thank you very much for pressuring your parents, for trying to get some stuff, and for making an effort.
And we definitely know that these items will go a long way, especially in this COVID-19 environment where many individuals are strapped for cash and the back-to-school situation was challenging. So the Lightning Aquatic Swim Club was established in 2011, primarily to provide recreational and competitive swimming to St. Lucians of all ages and from different socioeconomic backgrounds. The club competes in a number of swim meets locally and regionally and has had a number of successes. A number of team members have swum on the national swim team as well. But our hats go off to you, not only for your successes in the pool, but the work that you have done with this charitable effort for the 4th consecutive year in ensuring that you make a donation to the ministry to be able to help some kids out for back to school. So thank you so very much. We now go to a report on the basketball clinic that was organized by the Ministry of Youth Development and Sports. Do take a look.
Officials from the Ministry of Youth Development and Sports are expressing satisfaction with the conduct of a 2-week female basketball camp, which ended at the VG Multipurpose Sports Complex Friday afternoon. Director of Sports, Patrick Matre, was present for the closing of the camp, and he suggests that it will go a long way in maintaining interest in female basketball and provide future national teams with a wide pool of talent to choose from.
I must admit that we're very pleased over what has happened over the last 2 weeks. In fact, it's not just only about basketball, but ensuring that the young females that we have within the free were able to get an appreciation of sport in general, yes, specifically basketball, but also the level of camaraderie and the important skills that they learn. It's not just about an individual, but team play. And coming out of that, they're committed in forming their own local organization, their own club, so they could continue to carry basketball. So what I see that this happening makes me extremely proud, extremely pleased for the support for the ministry and its support, and to say to persons generally, I believe that the future of female basketball in St. Lucia looks extremely bright.
The camp emerged from an initiative proposed by National Female Basketballer and Female Basketballer of the Year 2018 and 2019, Maya George. To have seen it completed was very pleasing to her, in addition to giving her peers the opportunity to learn the rudiments of the sport.
I realized that although that there are a lot of interested girls, that we do not have any programs put in place for the girls, and so I decided to start a camp that would allow the girls the opportunity to learn and play the sport of basketball.
One of the participants, Chrisanne Duncan, had her first exposure to basketball at the camp. Duncan was full of praise for the Ministry of Youth Development and Sports for allowing her colleagues to have such an opportunity during the summer vacation.
This was my first ever basketball experience. It was a very good experience. The coaches were very patient. We went through a lot of drills. They helped us a lot. I think, and it's built a lot of discipline, which I think is good. And I would like to really thank them for taking the initiative and allowing us to come here today and teach us the sport.
From the Ministry of Youth Development and Sports, I'm Ryan O'Brien.
Thanks for that report, Ryan O'Brien there from the Information Unit at the Ministry of Youth Development and Sports. Today is International Literacy Day 2020. We have a focus from the United Nations on literacy teaching and learning in the COVID-19 crisis and beyond, especially looking at the role of educators. The theme highlights literacy learning in a lifelong learning perspective and therefore mainly focuses on youth as well as young adults. We want to just let you in on some tips. We know the kids are back to school, so definitely they're getting exposed to learning and whatnot again as they've returned to school. But at home, what can you do at home to promote literacy, to encourage the kids to learn at school? Well, the Merriam-Webster dictionary defines literacy as the ability to read and write. And we need to promote this because it may be simple, that definition may be simple, but the effects of being literate are huge. To a great extent, a person's literacy determines how successful they will be, as well as how easily they are able to navigate the details of their everyday life. So here we go. In terms of the tips, number one, read to your kids. It's never too early to read aloud to your child. In fact, it is recommended that reading to your children begin very early. You begin reading to your kids from infancy, and this special time actually promotes healthy brain development and serves to bond parent and child closer together. Two, read in front of your kids. If parents practice what they preach about the importance of reading, it sends a loud and clear message to their kids that reading is in fact valuable. Make space for reading and writing. One way parents can make literacy appealing to children is by providing an inviting place for them to read and write. A desk with pens, pencils, markers, and paper nearby. Also books. A small bookshelf filled with books will be a comfortable space for them to be able to read. Take advantage of windows of opportunity. Parents should look for natural opportunities throughout the day to support literacy development. Have your kids write the shopping list for you. read the traffic signs as you drive, and name all of the things in the kitchen that start with the letter P, for instance. So taking advantage of these little opportunities, and be involved with their homework as well. If your child is of school age, then be available to help them with their homework. Children often feel overwhelmed and unsure at times about their assignments. Your presence will help alleviate their anxiety at home, as well as remind them that you place a high value on their education. You're not just sending them to school and expecting them to do it on their own. And also visiting the library. Frequent visits to the public library go a long way in nurturing literacy in your child. And number 7, celebrate successes. Everyone likes a pat on the back every now and then. Be sure to celebrate when your child spells a hard word correctly, finishes their book, or writes their name for the first time. Also, turn off the television. Children often need a little extra encouragement to pick up their book or pencil and paper. Parents can help this process by turning off the television at certain hours of the day. You may be surprised at what your kids can find to do once the television is off, or for instance, the tablet with all the cartoons are off for some time. And also play around with words. Your young children learn best while playing, and make sure that you provide toys that encourage literacy development. Remember, you don't need the latest tech toys with the bells and whistles. Simple toys such as blocks, ABC blocks, will do the trick. So these are just some tips to help promote literacy with your kids at home. We do bid you a happy International Literacy Day. If you love to read, just pick up a book sometime today. Read a chapter if you can fit that in observance of International Literacy Day. A little reminder, our Prime Minister, Honorable Alan Chasney, was a guest on BBC World News yesterday. He joined Matthew Amrolewala on the BBC World News program. Is a discussion program called Global, to speak on how St. Lucia has so far managed the pandemic to date and what holidaymakers can expect from this whole phased reopening. The Prime Minister also discussed the wider Caribbean and how the wider Caribbean and leaders of today are navigating the COVID-19 pandemic, and advocated for airlines and countries to implement pre-testing to help boost consumer confidence and tourism overall. So when you do get a chance, do sit down. It's on our NTN Facebook page. It's also on our YouTube channel. You could look at the interview in full. If not, we will be bringing you a comprehensive report on this interview with the Honorable Prime Minister on BBC yesterday in our nightly news this evening at 7 p.m. Thank you so much for watching. It's all the time we have for now for the Morning Brew. Thank you so much for making us your wake-up program. Do enjoy the rest of your day and stay tuned to NTN for more programming coming from the government of St. Lucia. Goodbye and enjoy.